Beth, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Hilltop Conversations, and I'm excited to talk with you and learn a little bit more about your life. Let's start really early. Let's start way back at the beginning of time.
Way back.
You were born on a mission field, and
was.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I was born in Guatemala.
Okay.
I was the first child born to my parents, Leonard and Janet Sankey.
Okay.
And then we also lived in Honduras.
Okay.
So my early years up till I was 11, I lived on the mission field.
Oh, wow.
And so those were very, very impactful years for me. It has literally made my life what it is, because I love the culture of Central America, the climate, everything about it, the food. That's who I am in many, many ways.
Wow. So you were born on the mission field. So how were you before you ever came to the United States?
Yeah. So I think I was little the first time. Okay. I don't remember. But my parents came back for just a few months, and then we went back. Wow. Another time I remember living in the United States for a little bit, enough that I went to school in Bedford, Indiana, at a public school there. But basically then when I was 11 and a half years old, we moved back to the United States. And I started in at the local junior high, and it was a huge culture shock for me. What we would call reverse culture shock, because the expectation is that I would not have culture shock in the United States since I was a U.S. citizen, but that was not who I was.
Everything was different,
everything
right?
was very, very different for me, and it was a difficult stage in my life.
So was Spanish your first language? Did your folks speak that in the home, or how did that work?
So basically, I was bilingual from the minute I started talking. So I think they kept track of my words in English and Spanish. So mom and dad spoke English at home. Everything else would have been Spanish. My friends, my school, my church, everything else was Spanish. So I spoke them both, not knowing the difference. I think I did a little bit of speaking them both at the same time. Some English, some Spanish, all the same.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But yes, both languages from the get-go. I didn't know anything different.
Wow. So you came back 11 and a half years old. That's a tough age for a young lady to come back, and you go into school, and it sounds like it was public school.
It was a public school. So it was actually a very, very difficult time for me, both in leaving the only home I really knew and remembered, and then coming back into junior high, which I think for anyone would be
difficult.
A difficult time. And then to go to where I had an accent. People would say she talks funny. I didn't know these things. I just, and I looked in some ways like I should fit in, but I felt very, very much like a misfit. And of course, I did not dress like everybody else did. And so I was very, very definitely the odd man out. And those years really impacted me in so many ways.
Sure. So you go into junior high school. Did you attend high school at the same place?
Yes. So then went from Bedford Junior High to Bedford North Lawrence High School. And so as time went on, I started adjusting more. But believe me, I was never one of the popular kids on campus. I was always, and it probably formed me a lot into a person that was more of a keep to myself, and probably I had a lot of self-image issues. So those were things that I've struggled with. I still do.
Still do. So it's interesting that, and I think it's important to note that things that happen in our childhood affect us even down to our old age. Even down to old age, yeah. So you graduate Bedford High School, whatever the name of the high school was, and then you come to God's Bible School. And was that a little bit of a reverse on culture shock, or was it another whoa?
Absolutely. So the last year of my high school, a Christian school opened there in Bedford at my home school. So I I'm still part of the Bedford North Lawrence Alumni Association class of 1981, and I still go to all the class reunions.
Okay.
But I did actually have 1 year of Christian school.
Okay.
Before I came to GBS.
Okay.
When I came to GBS, it was, I would say, exactly the opposite of my entry into junior high.
Okay.
So I came here, and suddenly I was, and we can edit this out if we need to. I mean, I was Leonard Sankey's daughter, right?
Who's the chairman of the board?
He was the chairman of the board.
Okay.
And everybody thought
you could do no wrong.
Everybody thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. And I was like, wow, what is this place? Where have you been all my life?
Wow.
I loved it here.
So how did that affect you? So did you go from, this introvert to this extrovert who's the life of the party?
Right. So really and truly, and we'll probably get to this as our conversation continues, I am very much an introvert.
Okay.
But I did not know this when I was at GBS. I thought I was here for the fun and games.
Okay.
And it was great. I liked everybody, and I think everybody acted like they liked me. There was a few people that probably didn't, but I was having the time of my life.
Wow.
There were so many men, so little time, and it was just great. I actually got called into Dr. Robert England's office
at
academic
about dean, right?
Absolutely, at the 6-week mark, and we had a conversation about how I should be here for schooling, not for social life.
So did that change things?
It actually did.
Okay.
So I was probably pulling C's and D's the first 6 weeks, and I realized that this was probably not the way I wanted my college career to go. So I began improving there, and as time went on, I was never a 4.0, but I think I did graduate with 1 star by my name rather than barely.
That's good.
I didn't have 3 stars by my name, but I think I had 1. So.
Okay, so you attended here. You had a little bit of a fun start.
Yes, I did.
And what was your major?
So, education.
Okay.
Yes. So I knew from the get-go that I wanted to go into education. Before I came to school, I took one tiny little stab at nursing because my mom was a nurse practitioner, and I thought, well, maybe that would be, and I knew that was not the thing for me. So I came here with actually, I am very focused, even though, like I said, I was here for fun, but I came with the goal of being a teacher. And
did you feel called to that, or was it just kind of, I like education?
Yeah, this is what I want to do.
Okay.
Like, I don't know that I felt a call, but like this is what I want to do.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it, and I stayed right there with it. Graduated in 4 years.
So you graduated in 85, if my math is right.
That's correct.
All right. So at some point, though, you met your husband, right?
That's
and
correct.
So when would that have been in the mix? And was he attracted to the partier in your freshman year? How did that look?
Okay, so when I came to school, I was 17 years old.
Okay, so young.
I was very young, and I basically started being with Steve in October.
Okay.
So you can see we did not waste any time.
So quick. You're 17.
I was 17.
Okay.
He was 21.
Oh, so he's
He
older.
was a senior.
Oh, wow.
I was not considering him at all.
No.
Because he's a big senior, and I was like
and he's a Stetler, right?
He's a Stetler. He was doing whatever. I didn't even think about him. I was with other people.
Okay.
And we had fun for the first few weeks.
Okay.
And then
one day.
And then boom, I kind of heard by the grapevine, hey, Steve Stetler might be kind of interested in. Now we're talking.
Is that what sobered you up?
Yeah, it did pretty much. I was like, okay, we're got to get serious. And then, it's like, we're going to get serious, right?
Okay,
so that was fun. 6 weeks was fun.
Yeah.
And now we're done. Yeah.
So now you're kind of with him.
So I was with him, and we couldn't even date off campus.
All right.
Because
the
rules
old
are very,
schools.
very strict.
Yeah.
And I was 17 years old. So it was, So people gave him a really hard time because he was 21 years old. He had, whatever. And we couldn't date off campus. We had to just.
So you're down in the cafeteria.
Or the girls' dorm. Spent many we didn't actually get a whole lot of time back then.
Right.
We weren't allowed to talk before 5 o'clock.
It was notes,
so
all
silly.
these things.
So silly. But we made it work. And so we were from then. We were serious from the get-go.
Okay. 17 you meet him.
17 years old.
When did you get married?
I was 19.
Okay, so you actually waited a couple years.
A year and a half. Tried to be reasonable. So July of 1983, we got married.
Okay.
So he graduated in 82 with a bachelor's and in 83 with another bachelor's.
Oh, wow.
He was a student.
Oh, wow.
And so my grades went up because I'm like, I have to keep up with him, right? This would be embarrassing. And I didn't want, there was already enough stuff going on around campus that I needed to kind of live down the first 6 weeks, which were basically an anomaly for me.
Yeah, right. But
it was fun while it lasted.
New environment, you're accepted.
Right.
You're not the outcast. Right. You're not the speckled bird.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then I got serious, and
were his degrees in education or theology?
Not at all.
Preaching? What?
Basically preaching theology. I think I can't even remember, the first one was a bachelor's in something, probably ministerial, and then he got a BRE, which bachelor's in religious education. So he was going to be a preacher.
Okay. And felt a call that direction.
And he did.
Okay. And so you graduate, you're married.
Yes.
Whatever the sequence is. And what's next?
So I finished the last 2 years of my college here.
Okay.
Married.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we did that. And then I immediately left here and went to University of Cincinnati and received a master's degree in special education.
Wow. So you didn't let any grass grow under your feet.
I actually started in June or July. I graduated in May, and it was a 1-year program.
Wow.
Accelerated and full ride scholarship. Not because I was so smart, but because they need special education teachers. So,
all right.
So I started like immediately into this master's program.
Wow.
So that by the time I was 22 years old, I had a master's degree.
Wow. Wow.
And so then to segue into your next point, what was next?
Yes.
We went to Alabama. My first boss was Dr. Richard Miles. So went straight from here
to Pell City.
I graduated. I actually didn't even march at University of Cincinnati.
Okay.
It was in August, and I had already started.
No, God's called, right? We got to go.
Right. We hit the road.
No time for that.
That's right. So we packed up the U-Haul and moved to Alabama, and I was teaching school in Alabama.
So was Steve pastoring at that stage, or was he working in the school as well?
So he worked in the school. So this was a very interesting thing that actually applies to Steve, which was his call was into ministry, which he assumed was preaching. He struggled in school, never considered education at all because he hated school. It was a struggle for him.
Yeah.
And Mr. Miles, when he offered the job to me, also offered a job to Steve. And Steve just thought it was funny and laughable.
Right.
But as God works, he did.
And I'm sure many of our viewers have seen Steve's testimony
Correct.
of his struggle with dyslexia and that. And now he's in the education sector. But I think that would make him a good teacher.
Absolutely. It definitely did. He was an excellent teacher and just helped kids in so many ways because of his struggle. So God used this extremely difficult part of Steve's life and turned him into a teacher with basically no training at all. Like he did not take education classes, but he was born into a family of educators and it kind of came naturally to him and was a fantastic teacher for many, many years. I mean, that's what he did more than preaching.
Right. So you're in Alabama. At some point, you move to Bedford.
Yes.
So when would that have been?
So we taught in Alabama for 3 years and then moved to Bedford in 1989.
Okay. And he assumed the principal of the school at that time? Or
he was a teacher.
Okay.
He was a teacher. He never wanted to be a principal.
Okay.
He wanted to be in the classroom. He loved it.
Yes.
So, yes, and we taught there for 18 years.
18.
Yes, and he did actually finish as principal.
Okay, that's the era I remember.
Right, it's the way the circumstances fell, and they can't find anybody, and he says, I won't do it, and then he says, I'll do it till you find somebody, and so 7 years of not finding somebody was him as principal of the school.
Wow.
But he was in the classroom the whole time.
Wow.
It was kind of in name only.
Okay.
He just couldn't leave the classroom.
Loved the classroom. So at some point in there, you start having a family.
Right.
And you have Maria and Kent, and they're in your classes, I assume,
That's
right?
true.
So how is that teaching your own children?
Yeah, so it was very, very difficult. I was much harder on my own kids than anybody else. I had.
Do you look back and regret that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. I wish I would have done it better, but I think in the moment you're trying to make sure that you don't play favorites, so you you go to the opposite extreme.
Yeah.
So bless their hearts. If there's problems there, we know why, because mom was tough. But yes, we raised our family in Bedford.
Okay.
Maria went all the way through the academy there from pre-K, which we didn't even have, but I took her to work with me.
Yeah.
And then all the way through. And then we haven't gotten there yet, but Kent was there till he was 15.
Okay.
Then that's when.
So 2000, 2008, or 2007, 2008, you begin to feel life shifting a little bit, correct? So we know that you go to Mexico as missionaries, but tell me, you're an educator. You've got a master's in special education. Steve has been a teacher for a number of years and loves the classroom. Now all of a sudden, you begin to feel the nest being a. Tell me a little bit about that. What was that like? How did you know that a change was in the air?
Yeah. So I don't know how these things actually happened, but we had been in Bedford for, I'm going to say 10, 15 years or so, and we made a trip to Guatemala and Honduras so that Steve could see my childhood.
Okay.
He had never experienced that, and I wanted him desperately to see this is how I was raised. This is what made me who I am. This is what's important to me. These kind of things. It was just a visit, but at that moment, the seeds, I believe, were planted.
Okay.
That, we like this.
Wow, yes.
Yeah. So we just continued in Bedford with really not too much of a thought. We did consider, what about Guatemala? What about Honduras? But it never got past that talking stage. And we just kept working. And then in 2005, my brother and sister-in-law, Mark and Melody Sankey, moved to Mexico. And that's when we first began to consider Bible Methodist
maybe
missions.
us too, right? Yeah.
And we were Bible Methodists this time. So we did consider it. And we continued working there at school. And finally, in 2006, we gave our resignation for a 1 year. Like we said, in 1 year, we're going to do this. That's a very long goodbye. I don't recommend that. But it did help us get kind of some ducks in a row and figure out what we were going to do. It allowed Maria to graduate from high school there.
Yeah.
We always felt like our children would attend God's Bible school.
Okay.
And we were going to be 2.5 hours away. We live in Bedford, Indiana.
Beautiful.
Great place to raise kids. And when they go to college, they're only going to be 2 or 3 hours away. It's going to be perfect.
Yes.
And instead, the very year that Maria was coming to GBS, we moved to Texas and Mexico.
Which is a little more than 2 hours.
It was a lot more than 2 hours. It was a very, very difficult time for all of us.
So now, you grew up in a Spanish-speaking culture.
Correct.
You're now moving down to Texas. Do you still speak Spanish, or have you lost it?
So I have lost a lot.
Okay.
Right? So all this time. So the biggest mistake that I made was I was 11 years old and I went to public school and I'm already a weirdo.
Yeah.
I'm not also going to speak Spanish.
Okay. So
that's
you just
embarrassing.
kind of dropped it.
That's just embarrassing. I remember telling my parents, do not speak to me in Spanish. Like, this is embarrassing.
Wow. Which was a big deal because your dad kind of
liked it. Oh, they loved it. They loved it. And I regret it now. But at that time, it was one more thing that just made me weird.
Yeah.
And so we cut it out. So I moved back to Texas and Mexico, and I think, I know Spanish. And when I get there, I'm like, ooh, I have lost a lot.
Wow.
So then it's just full immersion, right?
Did you pick it up pretty quickly?
I did. I did. I wish I was better, and I could have been had I kept it up all these years. But I did pick it up quickly, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Steve, on the other hand, did not know Spanish at all.
Okay.
And I think he was 47 years old.
Oh, how did it go? Did the Lord bless him with the gift of languages, or you have to just grab himself and study?
Basically, it was the hardest thing he ever did. He said it was so humiliating. Took him back to the early years when he felt like an idiot. And just like, how can I learn? I'm 47 years old. And he's back in the classroom. We're back in language school, and he's trying to learn all these things and just feeling so intimidated. Steve always struggled with maybe fluency and vocabulary in Spanish, but his accent was almost perfect. I would say in that way, God gifted him really, really specially. And there are several circumstances where we all point back and say, God gave him the gift for that specific moment when he was dealing with a couple crisis experiences we had in Mexico. where he had to deal with situations, and God gave him a special gift at that moment to be able to communicate well.
Sure.
And he preached in Spanish and did really, really well. But those were not easy times.
Yeah. So did you actually live down in Mexico for a period?
So we lived for a year in Texas while we did language school. Then we lived in Saltillo for 3 years, Saltillo, Mexico.
Okay.
And just were wonderful, wonderful years. And then the rest of our time with Bible Methodist Missions, which would have been, I think, 7 more years. Then we lived in Texas on the border.
Okay.
And then made the trips into Mexico. All Sundays were in Mexico.
Okay. So how did this go for Kent? He's 50, I think you said 15 years old, and leaving Bedford with all of the advantages of that environment.
Right.
To go down to a language school and who knows what. Did he thrive? Was it a struggle? Did you have to do some special things to make sure you kept him connected?
So it was, we need to get Kent in here, right, to ask him, but I think it was very, very difficult for him.
Yes.
He was 15 years old. He was leaving everything that he ever knew. Family, friends. He had so many friends in Bedford.
Right.
It was just all he knew. And then to move to Texas and then have to go to Mexico. He also knows not one word of Spanish. He's also a little bit shy, which is hard to believe, but it's true.
Right.
And so it was a very difficult time.
Did he go to language school as well?
He did not.
Okay.
He did not. And he went to, we homeschooled him. I am not a I'm a teacher. I'm not a homeschool teacher.
Okay.
So those were not great experiences either. It was not fellowship and fun. And he actually lost a lot of weight. There were some concerns, right? So we were very concerned for him. He did find friends there on the campus of the language school where we were.
Okay.
Their parents were also in language school.
Sure.
And so he made friends there that are still friends today. So it turned out okay, but those were difficult days.
Sure.
And then moving into Mexico was even tougher.
Sure. Wow.
Culturally, language,
Everything.
church, friends, like to hang out with friends and you don't really speak the same language. It was very, very difficult.
So 3 years later, you're back on the state side. At that stage, I assume he's about to come here to school.
That was exactly what happened.
Okay.
So then at that point, Kent graduates from high school and he's ready to come to GBS.
Okay.
So then he came up here. So then he joined Maria here at GBS. So at least they had each other.
Right.
But we're still
a million miles
away.
But you're back in the U.S., you're on the border, and then you start teaching in public schools.
Right. So for a few years I did not. I traveled with Steve. We did longer trips in Mexico. We did all the Sundays in Mexico. We did all those things. And then I began to feel I'd been 7 years without being in the classroom and I had not done that.
Right.
So I began to feel that again, I want to get back in the classroom. And I had done my student teaching in public school, but the rest of my time had been in Christian school.
Wow. So this was new.
Here I was. And so I just applied at the local school system. And
how did that go? Did they accept you? Obviously, you're a little different.
Yeah, I am a little different.
And did you feel that same pressure again?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I did. The only thing is, then at that point, then I'm an adult.
Right.
And I have adjusted to, I'm an outcast. Yeah. That's just evidently my lot in life. So, and I kind of roll with it.
Okay.
At that, now it's like it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But I was very, very different. I was a different nationality in many ways, ethnicity in every way, language. Then by this point, I'm pretty well bilingual. So the school I'm at is 100% Hispanic.
Okay.
It's probably 60% English language learners. In other words, they do not speak English at home. So we're learning
trying,
English at school.
Yes.
And as fate, luck, the Lord would have it, my first job is in a middle school, junior high.
Oh my.
Here we are again.
Wow.
So
very difficult.
Right. Not an age group that I would ever choose to teach, no matter Christian school, any school. Junior high kids are never going to be my favorite. And there I was.
Wow.
So it was challenging.
But obviously, the Lord gifted you, and you continued to enjoy it. You stayed with it, right?
I did.
And probably in some ways felt like Texas was forever.
Yes.
It's kind of a quasi ministry setting where You're able to be a missionary in the local school. And Steve is getting his ministerial fulfillment through various means. And it is just nice. The climate, all the things, right?
It was, for me, the best of both worlds.
Right.
I had the culture, food, climate, people that I love and know and cherish. And I still got to live barely inside the United States.
Right. You had Walmarts, right?
I had
Walmart,
plenty of Walmarts and all the things that a U.S. lifestyle affords, with the grittiness of a border town, and I just loved it.
Oh, that's neat.
And we did think it was going to be forever.
Right. Then fast forward.
Yes.
COVID. And I mean, it ruined everybody's lives for a bit, right?
Yes.
But it especially just got right into your life,
did.
and it was a real thing, right?
It did.
You know, there's some folks who say COVID wasn't real. And we can talk about all of the nuances of it, whether it's created in a lab, who cares?
Right.
The fact of the matter is, it impacted you.
So it changed my life.
Right.
It changed my life.
So Steve got COVID.
Yes.
And big, strong, robust, a man's man. And now he's got COVID. And tell a little bit about, I don't want to go into a lot of details because I don't like to rip scabs off. But the progression, obviously he didn't start out in the hospital, but he ended up there.
Right.
Walk me through that a little bit.
So to set the stage, Steve was the strongest man I ever knew. Like, he's so strong. He did not have a doctor. He never went to the doctor. He should not have died from COVID. What they were telling us was people who die from COVID have comorbidities, right? They have high blood pressure, they have diabetes, they have heart issues. He had none of these things. So he is very low risk.
Right.
But he got it. And he was sick for, I won't go into just the nitty gritty details, but probably 10 days before
it got real serious.
And I took him to ER. Of course, I have to drop him off at the door. Nobody's allowed to go in. So it's these days, right, where everybody is very, very kept apart. I dropped him off at the door, and he was able to walk in under his own power. And that wasn't the last time I saw him, but that was the last time I saw him when he wasn't unconscious.
Wow.
And then it was just that whole downward spiral that you've heard about over and over and over again, where he's in. There were so many people in the hospital that he was in ER for 3 days before he ever even got a room. He moved from a cannula oxygen to a mask oxygen to finally intubation. Wow. And at none of this time was I ever able to see him or visit him or anything. We were allowed to talk for like 5 minutes a day on like FaceTime. That was it.
So suffice it to say,
it was awful.
It
was awful.
Your life is upside down now, right? You're 1,000 miles from nowhere. Your family's either in Bedford or
Cincinnati or Washington State,
and or Alaska. I think your sister was in Alaska at the point. And here you are.
Yes.
But Beth Stetler's gritty, right? She's the kind
I want to have grit.
Yeah, she's the kind of gal that just grabs it by the horns and is gonna make it happen. And so here you are. You're now a widow. What does life look? Where do you get purpose? And one of the questions that has come to me in thinking through this is, how did you remain sweet in sorrow, or perhaps a better way to say that is how did you just keep the joy of the Lord during this? I mean, this is awful. You've lost your everything in a sense, right?
For sure.
So walk me through some of those. Yeah, now I don't want you to go into the deep details, but how did the Lord sustain you during those days?
All right. So first, I'll start with, it was very difficult for me to not fall into bitterness, because I was angry at. I was not allowed to go in to see him. I was not allowed to advocate for him. Nobody called us. Nobody told us. I did not know he was dying. Nobody said he's on hospice or he's got a few hours or nothing. I got a phone call at work, which work was also part of my grittiness, right? Like I'm going to keep working.
Yeah.
So I got a phone call at work, and they said his heart stopped, and can we stop trying to work on him? And I'm just shocked. I'm just, what are you even saying to me?
Right.
And I was like, no, you can't stop. He's going to be fine. Like, just keep working.
Keep going.
And so I ran to the principal's office and I said, can I go home? I just got an upsetting phone call, and I was 2 minutes down the road, and they called and they said, like, he's gone. They're done. Like, they had already tried for 15 minutes or whatever, and he's not coming back. And I still had to drive all the way home.
Was your family there at that point?
So at that point, Maria and Brian had come down to be with me, and Kent and Janan, and at that point they had Caden, and they were at home waiting on me. I thank the Lord for that. I did not have to go home to an empty house.
Right.
And they were there to fold me in their arms when I walked in the door.
Yeah.
So it was just a horrible time. But it was hard for me to say, I'm not going to be bitter and I'm not going to be angry because of the way things happened.
Right.
Like,
it
shouldn't have happened.
Right?
Right, but it was a deal.
It's a deal.
It was a deal. It didn't seem right or fair or anything to me that, like, I didn't get time with him. So anyway, the thing that held me the most steady, and it's going to sound super spiritual, but it's just what worked for me, is God's Word. So while songs minister to a lot of people and precious words minister to a lot of people, it felt to me like the only thing I can really have as a rock under my feet is God's Word. What do I really believe?
Yeah.
God's Word.
Right. Yes.
God's Word. So whatever God's Word says, now
that's the true compass, right?
That's it. It doesn't matter, like, if a song says, I don't know, I don't want to pick out a song because there's really good songs out there.
Right.
But it doesn't matter if the song says that, or if the poem says that, or if the grief counselor says that. What does God's Word say?
Wow.
And literally would pour over the Bible, finding something to stand on that day. And my kids would send me Bible verses for this day. This is what I'm standing on. And honestly, it has been transformative in my life. Even before then, I was very much, I'm a literal person, a logical.
Well, you're an educator.
Right. So, like, give me the facts, right? And this was facts.
Right.
The Bible is facts. So, and thank the Lord for faith, right?
Right.
To believe that, because some people struggle to believe the Bible. God gave me faith to believe His Word.
Yeah.
And that's what I stood
And I'm
on.
sure it's still a thing.
It is.
I mean, it's not
constantly.
Like it goes away.
No,
I mean, it lessens.
The things that I screenshot on my phone are Bible verses.
Yeah.
Because that's truth. If you go in my office, you will probably right now see at least 5 Bible verses, either in prints or just scribbled somewhere in my office, because God's Word is where I can put my feet as a solid rock.
Wow. Tough time.
Yes.
But you're there, right? And Beth Stetler's going to stick it out, right?
Right. Right. That was my intention.
Right.
I love it here. So I've already lost Steve. Let's just hold tight here.
Yeah, let's keep everything.
Let's hold tight. I've already lost this huge thing.
Right.
At least I'm going to keep everything else the same.
So back up here on the Hilltop, I get a resignation from Dave Frederick, who's been here 1,000 years, done a fantastic job.
We love Dave.
And Dave says, I'm moving on. And I'm in a whirlwind. Who, what, when. I mean, this is not a position that people just jump up and down and say, pick me. And so I remember stepping into Kent's office, and we were chatting. I said, Kent, do you know anyone? And he didn't say anything. And he processed it, and I think I stepped in a day or two later and said the same thing. He said, maybe my mom would like that. And the dots didn't connect, right? I mean, she's an educator. She's way down in Texas. She's a missionary. She's all these things, finance. And yet, here you are.
Yes.
Several years later, ups and downs, right? You get into a position, and we're plugging holes.
Right.
And Beth, I remember a conversation we had. Do you remember that conversation?
I'll never forget that conversation.
And it was I didn't know what to do.
It was not fun.
We weren't.
Nobody was having fun right then.
Right. the numbers weren't adding up
No,
at
they were
that
not.
point, and I had to have one of the most
Yes.
terrifying
Absolutely.
conversations, because here we had brought you from Texas and all of your beauty of culture and environment
Right.
and all of the things that you
Right.
just love
Right.
to hear.
Right.
And now I'm looking you in the eye and
Right.
say, Beth, I'm not sure it's working.
This is not going to work.
And, a lot of folks would have folded. And it was
tough.
I mean, you went back and,
Yeah.
and it was difficult. But the grit came. And you said, you know what? I'm going to get it. You
Yeah.
came back, I think it was the next day.
Yeah.
And you said, if you'll trust me, I'll get it.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy, you did. And, for our listeners, Beth, she's got a master's in special education, and now she's doing finances. She's over her head. She's working from 6 a.m. in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, and trying to figure these things out. And I pop into her office and said, Beth, there's some classes that Harvard University Harvard Business School is offering. Why don't you enroll in these finance classes? And what do you do? On top of a 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., you enroll in classes. You're going to master this thing. And just this year, Beth, I've been here. I'm finishing. I'm in my 10th year at GBS, and we had the cleanest audit since I've been here. And the auditors say the cleanest audit in their recollection. Yeah. And that's no reflection on the people
Not
in the
at
past,
all.
because
It's very
a difficult
difficult.
job. But I say that to say that here's a gal who just grabbed it, and the grit came forward again.
Yeah.
And so tell me, so I alluded to some of that toughness, but how was it on a personal level to leave what you love, the beauty of Texas, to come back to the Hilltop?
So I'm going to kind of take you through a little bit of this. So alluding first to the grit. So I honestly think my childhood set me up for grit.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm always the outsider. I have to try harder, right? It's evidently going to be my lot in life. And I'm either going to fold or I'm going to have grit. And I'm fiercely independent. I want to do my own thing. And I'm going to do this. And teaching junior high to public school, it was sheer grit. But we're going to do this. And then I got myself into jobs that I loved.
Right.
So, but one thing that I wanted to say was leaving Texas was just adding grief on top of grief. So I had already lost Steve, which was the greatest loss that I can even imagine anybody going through. We're not comparing losses, but it was devastating for me. And then I had to leave a job I loved, a culture I loved, people I loved, probably overall you could say a lifestyle I loved. I loved everything about it. We had a beautiful home, all the amenities. It was ideal. And it was what we thought the future was. And so I have to grieve the loss of my home, my career, my lifestyle, the way I thought things were going to be. Like your plans for the future. You have to grieve these things over and over again. It was grief upon grief. Sure. So difficult. When this opportunity was presented, the idea of the job appealed to me because I've always loved math. I like logic and numbers. Numbers don't lie.
Right. That makes
most
sense.
of the time.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of this. And I did have a tiny bit of experience. So I had worked for H&R Block. I had done bookkeeping for several businesses. I had done a tiny bit of bookkeeping for Mexico, Bible Methodist Missions. I always did our own finances. These kind of things made sense to me.
Right.
Okay? It's just that's not even scratching the surface to what doing the accounting that is necessary for a place like God's Bible School is. It's a whole other thing.
Right.
So it was huge. And I'm not much of a crier, but when I called you, or I probably texted you because I hate talking on the phone, and said, I'll do it, I remember the sobbing. At this point, of course, I am by myself at home when I realized what I've done. Like, I'm going to have to sell this house, and I'm going to have to leave this job, and I'm going to have to leave this place that I love so much. It was so horrible. But I did know it was the right thing to do.
Yes.
Like, I knew it was. And in all the difficult conversations that you and I have had, and in the difficult years, I've been here for 3.5 years now. In all those times where I had to grit my teeth and just say, we're going to do this, I did know that God led me to this place. And, this job was not ideal for me. So it was going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen. And so we kind of did. When I came, Dave did us a favor by staying, because he already had another job. But he worked with me so kindly. He was just so nice to me, so helpful. He had some systems and processes in place. And I learned from him how to start. And then after that, I knew I couldn't keep bothering him. He has a job. So I would stay late at night and just pore over those documents, trying to figure out. He had showed me what, but I didn't really understand why.
Yeah, right.
And that's what we had to do.
Right.
And so I took classes, and then I also just looked at what was in front of me and said, I got to figure this out.
Wow.
I got to figure this out.
And you have. And you have.
And we did. And so this is where, grit and trying hard and just sticking with it
and feeling called,
and
right?
feeling like you should.
Yeah.
And then God doing what we can't do.
Yeah, right.
Right?
He does.
So when you look at this and you look at this audit that we just had, that we're all so thankful for.
Right.
We know that Beth Stetler could not have pulled this off. So that this is God, right?
You may think that. I know you can now.
But this is
right?
God being true to his word. He promises us that he will help us, that he will be with us.
In our weakness, he is strong.
He did it.
Amen.
Like, he just proved himself again, like he has over and over, that his word is true.
Amen. So looking back, we've covered your life.
We have.
And we're going to wrap this up.
We have.
We could go on for hours. But if you were to look back at your life, kind of in the rearview mirror, and what would you want kind of the epitaph over your life to be? What do you want people to look at Beth Stetler and think when it comes to your legacy?
So I want people to know that I love the Lord.
Amen.
And then, like I said, I love his word. Like, that's probably the
key
crux of things right there. And then, even though I am a loner and kind of keep to myself, I would like to know that I am impacting people.
Sure.
I want people to look on and say, she's steady, she's consistent, she's reliable. Those are the words that I would like applied to me, that I could have that I could be that kind of person. I may not ever be a superstar. I may not be the guy you would pick out, but am I consistent? Am I reliable? And I just want to be that person. Yeah, well, I think you're well on your way if you're not already. Beth, thank you. This has been so fun. And appreciate your opening up to us and letting our listeners see a bit into your heart. And I can't wait to see what God has. And perhaps we'll have you back. We'll talk some more about some other little nuance of life. Maybe we'll give a lesson on accounting 101, right? We could, but we'd probably lose all of our listeners.
All right. So. Well, thanks again, Beth, and Lord bless you. Thanks.